Now we are recording. We are recording. Smile. I may screen shoot you, and then you may be on Facebook like this. I'm kidding. Okay, welcome everybody. So we are going to do a Zoom tonight. We were super excited. We asked Shelly. Shelly is super passionate about, well, I guess just to say the conversation has come up about how do I find promoters? Or how do I start the business conversation? How do I start the sharing conversation? It's just something that I don't feel like, would you say, Shelly, people are naturally having?
They do not. Most people do not.
Right. So I think that the biggest thing is it's great to have, we love the product. Like everybody's loving the product. Now, how do we either find those people that we want to share in our team, or how do we find those people that really could use the extra income? How do we start those conversations? And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm waiting for one person to hop on, but maybe until he hops on, we will, Shelly, do you want to kind of pre-frame what you're going to talk about? And then when he hops on, we'll let him go and then you can finish. Then I'll start.
Absolutely. I would love it. So I feel like, and I don't just feel like, I know for certain, just through coaching hundreds of people, that most people lack talking about why they became, like why they got started in the business. And because, so it's basically what we talk about is what people know about. What we talk about is what people focus on. What we talk about is a story that people get to learn. And we're all talking about the product. We all talk about how much we love it, what our experiences are, the experiences of other people. But I can guarantee you that 30 days or 31 days and a month will go by, and you may not have ever shared once why you got started as a Pruvit promoter. Can I see a raise of hands if that's the reality? That if maybe you've not shared in 1 month why you got started. Okay, and that's pretty normal. And so what I like to do, so I took this experiment one time in my previous business space. For 1 whole month, all I did was talk about business opportunity, why I got started, what my life was like, what I love about it now, answering all kinds of questions, like talking about and answering questions that I usually get, but talking about them on social media, knowing that if 3 people had already asked me that, there must be at least 3 more people out there that are kind of wondering the same thing. And so I started, what happened during that month was I had an influx of people join my business because that's what I talked about. Okay. So what's really cool is, and I'm happy to give this to you guys, I like to make these quirky little things called marketing calendars. So that way every week I kind of know what to talk about. Now the 3rd week of the month, I kind of like to just focus on talking about business, talking about what I love about being a promoter, talk about people on my team having success. And that doesn't mean, maybe you don't have anyone on your team yet, your team, but you have someone on your community team, right? Start talking about my life before promoter, or my life before my home business space endeavors. Talking about things like, I used to do a 3-hour commute, an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. I used to pay $1,800 a month for my kids to be in childcare, 10 hours a day away from them, right? When you start thinking about all these things, all these reasons why you love this, and we all have a different story. I mean, I'm looking at Cynthia over here in the right-hand corner. She loves her job, right? She is an executive in the company that she works with, travels the world. But there's something that she loves about this business space and helping people and pursuing better and the community, right? There's all these things that she loves. I bet she can name off like 5 things right now that if she took all those 5 things and wrote them all down and one day after another in a row talked about those, or maybe it's like once or twice a week talked about those, what it's doing is filtering in little stories to people who start to say, me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I'm like that. Or I had that experience, right? So it starts to paint the picture. And also, like, if If your store isn't open for business, or your business isn't open for business,
not up here either. My inhaler.
then how are people gonna know? Okay, so this is what I call creating a sneak peek into your business. So I have a homework assignment for you guys right now. So this is kind of step one to truly legit attracting promoters to you. These could already be customers. These could be people that are friends with you on Facebook or Instagram, right? I'm just kind of using those two mediums because those are the most popular, or the platforms. But if you don't talk about it, guys, people aren't going to know about it. And if you don't talk about it from your perspective, people aren't going to know more about you. And you're going to attract people who are like you when you start talking about it. And I can promise you, so many people will start raising their hand and they'll say, me too. I'm like Scott, I've got that same story, or I had that same feeling, right? And then over time, seeing that from Scott a couple times a month, Joe Smith might reach out to Scott and be like, dude, I see you talking about this thing, like me too, right? I got this awesome job that I really thought was awesome, but maybe it's not so awesome. And there's all these things going on with layoffs, and I see you doing this thing and it looks pretty cool. It looks like maybe something I could do part-time. Tell me more about it. And I promise you, this is exactly how it happens. Okay, I haven't had time to go see like how many promoters I enrolled last month, but I know it was at least 4 with the promoter pack. But I also will say that's a side thing. Like, not all promoters need to come in with the promoter pack. Okay, I'm gonna kind of share with you how I present it to people. But what I want to say is, it is so important for you to share your story. That is the most critical pinnacle piece of you attracting promoters into your business. So so I have like 3 different pieces I want to talk about tonight, but this is the first and foremost, because this is something everybody can and should do at least once a week. Make Wednesdays, or I have an even better one. Actually, Sunday night, right? I love to do like a tell my story call to action promoter post, because what does everybody have Sunday night? A case of the blues. They got to go back to work. That's when you need to that's when you got to put out those posts. So like Sunday night, and so let's say you have one story on Sunday night, and maybe you have another story on Wednesday or Thursday. You have to tell your story. And I love that Pruvit they've had this sweatshirt that says your story matters, or everyone has a story, or something like that, right? But I love it because it is just so darn true. You have to make yourself be known, because there are other people out there like you. Here's your homework assignment for this part. I want you to put a timer on your phone when we get off this call tonight for 3 minutes. That might be too long, but I want you to put it on for 3 minutes anyways. And I want you to take a piece of paper, or like a notebook, actually a notebook, because I don't want you to lose it.
Hold on. So we'll just hold on. You got muted accidentally, Shelly, because when people come on, I just have to mute them, and I accidentally muted you, so I apologize. So you go over the 3 minutes. Once you tell them their homework, we're gonna have our guests hop on real quick and share some tips, and then we'll keep going. You have to unmute yourself though, Shelly, because I can't find your name.
How long have I been talking muted? I love it.
You just said you're going to take this piece of paper, you explain their homework, we're going to shoot it over to somebody for 5 minutes, and then you're back on.
Got it. So here's your piece of paper. You're going to put on a 3-minute timer. You're going to draw a line down the middle. On one side, you're going to say all the reasons why I got started being a promoter and why I love it. Okay, why I got started and why I love it. And I want you to not self-edit. I just want you to start jotting. This is just free-form jotting. You should have a really long list. It could just be 2 words. I don't care what it is. I just want it to be down on the paper and start jotting down all the reasons why I got started and why I love it. On the other side, I can guarantee you've been asked by people more about being a promoter. Have you not? I know you have. I want you to write down all those questions you've been asked. Okay? So now you've got all these topics You've got topics to inform and educate, and you've got topics that are about you. Okay? So, Steph, do you want me to pause there and I'll tell them what to do with it?
Yep, we're going to pause and we're going to have, so the point of tonight was exactly what Shelly's going to do is Shelly's going to share her tips and tricks and just give you some insight. I have a couple of things I'm going to share at the very end, but we are going to throw it over to Steve, who is he's with Mr. CEO Brian Underwood right now, and we're going to have Brian. I asked Brian, I said, Brian, I need you to come on. And if ever.
What did you say?
I said, Brian.
You said Brian.
I said, Brian, come on to Zoom. We need you.
Hey, I'm here.
Well,
I'm a little sick.
I know we're only going to keep you for a couple minutes because we're all rhinos here. We're all go, go, go. So there's no time to be sick. There's only time to go. So this is our question for you. Are you ready? Wait, I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay, what's up?
The question is this. If somebody said to you, Brian, how do I find promoters to join my team? How do I get people to share this? Like, I've got tons of customers, but I want people to build a team with. What would you say to them? Like, what would your wisdom be? And what would they have to do? And whatever you want to say, the stage.
I would say just do it. No, I mean, I think sometimes people, I think they overthink it. And I think when you overthink it, then, let me sit up. I think that if you overthink it, that I think people hesitate from having the conversation.
I was going to show you there's more people.
Oh, hi. No, what I would say is this, is that number one is you have to be passionate about what you're doing yourself. And if you really are passionate, you're confident, you have certainty, one of the things that we always talk about is the 3 pillars, right? And everything that we do from a training perspective, we want to reinforce or we want to build up your level of belief in yourself, in the company, and our business model. If you have a low level of belief in any one of those pillars or it wavers, then what's going to happen is you're going to hesitate and that vibration is going to show. So what I've always said is, like, if you build your belief and you're like on fire, resonating, excited, even over the top excited, people are going to be like, well, what's she so excited about? What's he so excited about? And you're going to have a different level of law of attraction. So, you know, they call it in direct sales or network marketing, the 3-foot rule. And there's tactical ways of creating conversations with people to where you're not selling them or you're not hitting them over the head. And so that's a skill to learn. But like when people say that they can't find anyone, where are you looking, dude? Like there's 30 million people on this planet that are looking for better, that they want to generate extra income, whether it's part-time or full-time. What you have to realize is people want to be led, right? People want someone with certainty to say, I got the way, I'll show you and I help you. Because what you have to understand is that and if you don't have a high level belief, then you're probably going to be hesitant to do that, right? So it doesn't matter if you're using social media, if you're using a platform, if you're walking and talking, if you're at a supermarket, if you're at Starbucks, there's people all around you. And all of those people, just so you're aware, all of those people are either going to be a customer, a promoter, or they can lead you to someone if you master one thing. Just build rapport with people and find out what it is that they want, right? Or where they are in their lives. And I think that it's the power of asking questions, right? It's not the power of telling. If you ask enough questions, then people are going to ask you the same questions. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? What are you doing? So, you know, what I've always said is that you don't have to set out to go find people if you just make it a part of who you are. And, you know, and just think about how you would want to be communicated with or talked to. And so, you know, there's a million ways I could tell you to approach people. At the end of the day, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Where a lot of people go wrong is they don't say anything to anyone because they're worried about what those people think about them, right? And by the way, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, but you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Does that make sense? The thing that you have to do is you have to find it in yourself to have that energy and be infectious everywhere you go. And, if you just go around smiling, loopy and crazy, it'll be funny. People will be like, what's wrong with her? That's the dull, disillusioned society we live in, right? Like, being like this is more normal than being joyous. Be joyous, like be excited. There was a training I did a long time ago, and it was, do people even like you? And so, like, sometimes I want people to realize that, like, just be likable. You know what you like. And the last thing people want is someone to sell them anything. The minute you feel sold, you back away, right? But when you feel communicated with and you feel relatable and you feel like someone's coming from their heart, you know what? You're going to open up, and most people are willing to be led. And so I would focus on leading people to the right information, right? I would focus on the power of asking the right questions. The more questions you ask someone, then the more open they're going to be. Find out about them, right? And so, when people say, you don't have to go find promoters, like they're all around you, right? You don't have to find someone that's a customer that has a great experience. They're promoting it whether they think they are or not. They just have to make a decision to do it. They want to get rewarded over it. Most people, what stops them is the fact that they're worried about what other people think about them. So just keep this in mind and keep it seated right in the front of your head, is that you don't need anyone else's permission to go for your goals. And you don't need anyone else's acceptance to be yourself. You have to give that to yourself, and everything else will fall into place. Like, there is so much, like, do you realize we're in South Florida right now? Do you know how many people are promoting Pruvit? Do you know how big the opportunity is here? I mean, anywhere you are in the country, but my point being is that, Louisville, Kentucky, there's no one. I mean, Dallas, Texas. My point is that you could literally walk and you could go to every Starbucks in, Palm Beach County right now in West Palm Beach. And I guarantee you could just talk to people as they come in the door, right? And if you give enough people your card in a magazine, I guarantee you 2 or 3 will stop and be like, will you tell me more? They've never heard of it. The thing that we have to ask ourselves is, are we going all in? You can use attraction techniques like Stephanie did. Here's a funny thing that I think is hilarious. I was talking to a really good trainer today, and we were talking, and I used Stephanie as an example. I said, some people see Stephanie now as this confident woman that, like, she's a keto expert, and she's driving business. I remember 2.5 years ago where she was scared and nervous. She was scared to do a Zoom. She had 0 people on her Facebook page, and she programmed herself. Like, she got excited. She used to be nervous about talking to people about the business because she was worried about people think about her. No, Brian, we're just going to keep talking about the product. You can't get her to shut up about the business now, right? It's a good thing. My point being is that we're all human beings. We all deal with some of the same insecurities or the same perception issues. Get rid of those, and you'll find all the promoters that you want. Seed your belief deep, right? The more you believe, the more you will attract, and what you cannot build something that you don't believe. So you can only build something to the level you believe it can be built. And at that time, you will attract the right people. I heard a speaker 15 years ago say this to me, and it's resonated ever since. It's one of the only quotes I can rattle off very, very quickly, except one that my dad used to always say to me, and that's, if it is to be, it's up to me. But this speaker, he said this. He said, dream big and be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid, which means you are going to attract it. I think it's different. I think it's dream big, be bold, and believe in the dreams that you dream, and mighty forces will come to your aid. Without believing, you're not going to move forward. You're not going to attract in your life, right? There'll be a self-sabotaging mechanism that will keep that from you. You might think that I'm hokey pokey, but that's what I truly believe. That's my genuine belief in spirit. That's my opinion. So I would say this. Remember that if you want the fruit, you have to go out on the limb, right? And so my question would be to every one of you, are you going all in? Are you going out on the limb? Are you being courageous and saying, I'm going for it. I'm going to talk to that person. I'm going to ask them what they're doing. I don't know. You have to ask that for yourself. But I'll say this. If you have faith, right? Faith is being certain of what you hope for, of what you're dreaming for. Then you will have the courage to go out on that limb. And so promoters, to me, Stephanie, it's not about finding promoters. It's about finding your belief in yourself, and the promoters will come, right? And for everybody, we're on a different path. Some of us have to take baby steps, and we're looking for baby circumstances that will reinforce that, hey, we can do it. Like, think about the time you got the first check, Stephanie. Wow, this is real. Rhonda, think about the time you got your first check. So all of these are like little steps. Start rewarding the small victories that your team members and your group members are having. And you all know those. And like start sharing those with Steven and Stephanie and me, and let us recognize that, right? So when you have someone that's like literally talked to people for 3 weeks, couldn't get anybody interested, and they got their first promoter, man, let's celebrate the heck out of them, because everything takes that first step and that first little victory to build on top of. That's when momentum's gained. When that first victory is had, then we start believing a little bit bigger. Then we tap into more of our potential. Then we take more action. Does that make sense? So anyway, love you guys. Let me know what I can do to help. There's Steve.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I hope that's what you wanted. I don't know, but I gave you what I had.
Perfect. We love it. Go rest up. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Well, we're done. No, I'm just kidding. That was super great. I will tell you this. I'm excited because it's those baby steps that Brian talks about, and those beliefs that when you're using the product, when you do exactly what Shelly told you to do, when you go back and you have a piece of paper in front of you that says, this is why I started, right? So if you got your starting, your why, and then the questions that people ask you, and the more you dig in, the more you come into these Zooms, the more events that you come to, the more calls that you get on and listen to, that builds your belief. In the beginning, like he said, I was too afraid to talk about it because my belief wasn't built. Nothing wavers me now. Like, if you don't want to talk to me, I don't care. I'll talk to somebody else. But so what Shelly's going to do is she's going to walk us through how she piques people's interest, because like Brian said, if you've got enough belief, it doesn't matter if people say yes or no, you're going to draw people. But let's figure out how to draw people, or how to maybe pique people's interest on Facebook, how to post things if you want that. Shelly, does everybody want some of that? Some things that Shelly might share, what she does? So Shelly, why don't you share with us kind of after the 3 minutes, after people go home, or after y'all go home, after people write their stuff down, what would you instruct them to do?
I love it. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, I just got all these golden nuggets from BU, right? All of these. I wrote that fast. I don't know if I can read my writing, but I wrote that fast. Those are awesome truth bombs. So here we are back on our piece of paper. And here's what's so cool. I'm going to tell you right now, I go back to my On This Day on Facebook, and everything I'm about to tell you, it's all right here too. It's so cool. All the same reasons why I got started with stuff are all the same reasons why I do things today. And now I have even more reasons, right? Because this is a different environment, different platform, different product, different way to help people. So you have your columns, and you put a timer on for 3 minutes. It just allows you to just go, just be creative with what's in your head. Now you should have like a list, at least 10 on each side. Now what you can do is you can say 2 to 3 times per week, I want to make a post on social media about, a few reasons, a reason why I love what I'm doing now, why I got started. And then, so you can answer what your why, right? You can talk about part of your why you got started, why you love it. And then answering a question that you get asked. And I love answering these questions. Anytime someone asks me a question, I write it down. Because then what I do is I go make a post about it. And I'm not saying, oh, so-and-so asked me this question, but I'll say, you know what I get asked a lot is, how do you get started as a Pruvit promoter? Or how do I earn free product as a Pruvit promoter, right? So anything I get asked, big or small or confusing or not, I'll write it down. And I'll take time to answer that and inform and educate in a post. And when I do that, honey, can you turn that on, please? Thank you. When I do that, isn't that amazing? So I'll be like, then it starts to inform and educate people. When I talk about maybe once a week why I got started, I might use the same story every week, you guys, and just do a new photo. Maybe it's a photo with me. Maybe it's a photo with my kids. Maybe it's a photo with my daughter out riding horses and talking about it's so awesome to earn a little bit of extra income, to be able to allow her to do the things that she's passionate about, right? And not have to stress about those extracurricular activities, really starting to pile up. I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of parents that have children, honey, please, that have children, my children's age, that have to say no to things. And then they're going to be like, I wonder if I could, and I'm not going to talk about earning thousands and thousands of dollars per month. People can't wrap their head around that. But most people can talk about earning a few $100s a month, maybe up to $1,000, how much that could really help, right? So I like to talk about financial things. I like to talk about lifestyle things. I like to talk about my past in corporate America and how much I used to commute. So when you do this list, you're going to have a lot of ideas. And I promise you, if you just do 2 of these types of posts a week, pick and choose, whatever it is, you're going to start leaning into people. People are going to start paying attention that there's something else here aside from how amazing ketones make us feel, okay? And how we can help people. They're going to start listening to the business side of what drives people to do this and work at 8 o'clock at night and pour into people because we've got this community and all these things. Then, this is what's really cool. Once you craft these posts, I don't care if you love them or not, you're going to start to love them, okay? But this is what I call your marketing arsenal. When you craft these business type posts, I want you to create a Google document. I'm very system and organization, like cuckoo bird about that, because I want to leverage my time. I don't want to go creating the same story again. I'll edit. It's way easier to edit than it is to create. So your first time, you're going to have to do some brain work, right, on each of these topics. And I hope that each of you have like 10, 15, 20 on each of these columns. You'll never be without content to create. So then when you create these, I want you to copy it, paste it into your Google Doc with whatever photo you're using so you have it for later. So when you're like, you know what, it's Tuesday, and I share my business story on Tuesdays, and I'm not feeling very creative. My schedule is really taxed and maxed out today. So I'm just going to pick and choose from like maybe one of these 5 or 10 that I've now built over time. Do you see what I'm saying? Copy, paste, edit, however you feel like. You can use the same photo. You can take a new one, but you're being consistent. You're continuously being consistent. So this is one of this, I love this because this will work for you, you guys. When people start to understand your story and who you are and where you came from and where you're going and what you love and what it's about, and answering questions from someone else that other people are going to have, people will start coming to you and the conversation won't be as hard. And when people come to me and they want to get started as a promoter, I always just say, awesome, Jill. I'm so excited that you're interested in becoming a promoter. Hey, what do you know about ketones and ketosis? Where'd you hear about it? Also, from this list, what would you love to be achieving more of? Oh, you've had ketones? Okay, great, right? That could be a little bit of a different conversation. What do you love? What have you experienced? What's your favorite flavors? Oh, you haven't had ketones? Oh my gosh, this is a game changer. It's going to change your day. It's going to change your life. Hey, let's get you started on these and let's continue our conversation. There's some really cool things I want to share with you. Do you see what I asked her questions right from the get-go. And so it takes me also to what Brian was saying. One of the skills that my sister-in-law has that is just super amazing. She lived with us for 6 months and I felt like I never even got to know her because all she ever did was ask me questions about myself. And I felt like I was talking about myself all the time. And then I was like, she's such an amazing person, right? When people ask you a lot about yourself, you're just like, man, they're so nice, right? They ask me all about myself. Well, the more you get to know people, the more you actually have to share less. I'm gonna. There's a little bit of a twist of if you're afraid to talk to people, to start asking them about themselves. the more and more you can ask them about themselves, their family, their lifestyle, their past, where they're going, where they work, what they do, you know, and just genuinely be interested, like, how can this person fit into Pruvit? How can Pruvit fit into this person, right? And you start to sort of match the puzzle pieces like that. So that's the first part of what I want you to do, because it's going to be powerful. And then you're going to start creating that conviction and that belief even stronger, because you're seeing yourself talk about it. You already know it in the back of your mind. What other people don't know and what you haven't done is sort of open the doors to let people in and see and understand those things. So I can guarantee you, of the 96 people on here, we probably have a lot of similar stories as to why we're here, right? And there's a lot of us that could raise our hand that would say, me too. Me too, I'm just like you. And when you start piquing those people's interests like that, because I tell you, not everyone's life is peachy and puppies and rainbows. It's not. They're looking for change. They're looking for better. And if you have the solution beyond even just drinking ketones and what those can do, they'll reach out. But you have to open it up and you have to invite, right? And so a lot of times what I'll do at the end of my post is I'll just say, hey, you know, does this sound like something you would be interested in talking about? Reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. And that's what I say. Let's have a conversation, because that's really all it's about. And then sometimes I'll just say, like, trust me. Or sometimes I'll say, hey, I'm not going to twist your arm and make you do something you're not going to want to do. But I want you to know so you can make great decisions for yourself. And the more confident you get, the more you can say that. And when you lead with confidence, people are just like, I want to do whatever she's doing because I want to change my life, you know? So that's the first part of what I wanted to share. Thank you for everyone commenting on my hair today.
Oh, I love it. Hey, I was going to say, so for those of you, let's break this down a little bit, because I might not be a great writer. So sometimes people, like, I'll read, like, Shelly, you're great at content, right? Like, you've got beautiful pictures, but, like, what if I can't pose like that? And, like, what if I, like, you've got great stuff. So I want to give people an example. So for example, if I would encourage you, go follow Shelly, because she's got some great content and you could make it your own, but you can kind of piece it together. But other things that you could do, for example, is you can make it super simple. Like today I took a picture of the kids and I was like, or Steve, I think, I don't even know what it was, but I was like, this is my office for the day. Like, people are going to go, I want to sit by the pool. Like, I want to build a team from the pool. Or, hey, it's awesome. Like, maybe take a picture of you at the grocery store. Like, what's fun is I can build a team while I'm grocery shopping. So I love the long, great post, but if you feel like that's way too much, it just is piquing interest for people to see outside of an office box. Like, where are you at? What are you doing? Who are you sharing ketones with? Is that making sense? It's just that one's like, hey, do you want to, I would love to have you on my team. Who wants to know more about working from the grocery store? Or who wants to know more about working by the pool? And so would you say that's fair enough, Shelly? Things like that?
Absolutely, because you can take each one of these topics and you can make them short and sweet.
Right.
Or you can really dig in and start to share what you know is in your heart. So here's my greatest piece of advice. Are you ready? This is what I do. I will open a notepad, put my topic on there, turn on my microphone, and I'll start talking. This is different than typing. And I want you to pretend like you're talking to a friend, talking to me, talking to someone else on the team, talking to someone that you feel comfortable with, where you're just like, man, I just want to pour my heart out. They don't have to be super long, but you know what it feels like to pour your heart out. You know when you're like in the zone, right? So that's one thing I do is I pop open that microphone and I just start talking. So that way I'm not self-editing myself while I'm typing, and then there's typos and then I'm losing my train of thought. Does that make sense? You can go back in and edit your voice. I know this might sound just really quirky, but these are things that I've learned over time that have really helped me to open up and come out of my shell and be able to open my heart and speak from my heart. Okay, and you can always go in and edit. But those things are really helpful. I invite you to try it. To, like, when you're making a post, I'll even do it in Facebook. I'll just open it right up and go into Facebook and go into a post. I'll go to create new post, and then I'll turn on the microphone. Hey, good morning, friends. How's everybody doing? You know, I just love the power of ketones. right? It's just all recorded right in there. It's so cool to do that. So you're not spending the time, the physical time, and you're not self-editing. So it's just a little trick that that way you can dig a little deeper when you feel necessary to do that. And I know you all do. I know you feel passionate about what you do, right? So you can make it short, like Steph said, right? Like let's say one of your things on the paper is that you love that you can just have a mobile business and you can work from anywhere. Well, all of a sudden, if you're at the pool, you can take a little screenshot and be like, yeah, you know what? I just love that I can work anywhere. Just boom. That could be like 1 or 2 sentences. But maybe some days you're like, man, I feel passionate about this and I have a lot of conviction about this right now, because maybe you ran into someone who's having challenges in their lives because they don't have that luxury like you do. I'm just throwing that one out. So now you can really start talking about it, like you're talking to that person. You really want to pump them up and empower them. Does that make sense? The difference in those 2 kinds of posts on the same kind of topic. And the reason why I'm telling you to create that Google document, if you're kind of going a little bit deeper, so that way you don't have to take so much energy and like mind creativity to create those things. You've already got it on that topic, and then you can always edit it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I know you have more to share. I also want to honor people's time. So let's do, there's a couple things that I think are super simple as far as also sharing and just inviting the conversation. I think exactly what Brian said. Brian said, he said that thing. He said, oh my goodness, most people are too afraid to say anything, right? Like you might say the right thing to the wrong person, the wrong thing to the right person, but most people just don't say anything. So we had a sweet lady that reached out to us today, and I just realized she enrolled as a promoter, and she's been drinking the product since April. What does that tell you? That tells you that if you've been in the business for longer than a couple months, or if you joined in the fall or maybe the summertime, and you've got people drinking the product from June or almost a year, those are the people that you want to have the conversations with. This is just a simple tip to go, hey, you know what? I've seen you've been ordering. It's almost your year. We call it Pruviversary. So what we've been doing is, this is a little tip Steve could tell you, probably will tell you later, but like we've been going to all of our past customers. So it's been almost 3 years, and he has going, hey, it's your 2-year Pruviversary. He just made it up. He's like, thank you for using ketones for that long. Like, that's amazing. We love this community. Do you know about the Smart Ship? 22%. Hey, do you know that you can earn some free product? It's just those few words that you're not being salesy, but like, who doesn't want free product? This lady's been drinking them since April. Why does she's like, I want to do this now. Like, I've got belief, right? These people have been using it for almost a year. That's one way to start the conversation. That's it. Or like, I asked Michael Rutherford, if you're familiar with who he is, he's the top income earner. I was going to have him on, but I just said, hey, give me the one-liner. What would you say to somebody if they said, how do I get more promoters in my business? And he said, every time you shake up a sample, every time you have hand a packet to somebody, every time you send out a 5-day experience, go, who else do you know that needs better? Who else do you know that what you're trying to achieve, fat loss, focus, energy, mom fuel, whatever it is, who else in your life around you within that 3 feet rule needs that? Because those are the people I want to talk with you. Hey, get me in front of your friends, get me in front of your family, but it all boils down to the power of the ask. Exactly what Brian said, your belief, and then speaking it and asking it. It's the action step. And so that's all I was going to share was just it's the going back and going, all of these people that are using the product, you can share it. And so I would say one more thing too, and then Shelly, I'll let you wrap up, is don't feel like you have to drag people. We often fall in love with people's potential, right? And Brian talks about this all the time. Like, you can't force somebody to do this. When somebody has a passion deep down and they see it, they might see your post, they might be having challenges, they might go, I want better. They're going to come along with you. You shouldn't have to bribe them with like, hey, I'll pay $500 of your promoter pack, or I'll do this for you, or I'll do that. Like, when people want it, they want it. And there's a lot of people that do a little bit. Some people want just free product, and that's okay. Some people are completely content with $200 a month, and that's okay. And then there are people that are going to run with you. I always say, do you want to be supported or do you want to be coached? I have some people that come in as promoters and they want to be supported. That means I say, hey, that means I'm not going to bother you. I'll keep you posted on how things are going. I'll say, hey, did you see this promo? Hey, we're doing a Zoom, but I'm not going to bother you. If you want me to coach you, That means I'm going to be up in your business. That means I'm going to be like, hey, I haven't seen a post from you on social media, but you're saying you haven't talked to anybody or nobody signed up. And then I'd be like, where have you been for 2 weeks? I don't even know if you're using the product anymore. And so supported versus coaching, that's something also when somebody joins your team going, where are you at? And it's good to know your goals. Ask the questions because then you know how to navigate things. And when people are ready, like we'll have people that joined a year ago as a promoter, paid the fee and didn't do anything, and now they're ready to go. Everybody has their own timing, and that is completely fine. So I think this has been super valuable. Shelly, why don't you wrap it up with a couple key points, and then we'll let everybody go. I mean, if you guys are sticking with this, I think this is awesome.
I love this. This is awesome. And I love the supporter versus coach. I remember us having a conversation about that just earlier on, helping me help so many people, right? And I want to say this to that really quick, that guys, in a whole circle of who you're going to bring in on your team, guess what? You're going to have a really big circle of people who just want to be part of the community. They want to use the product. They're perhaps getting free ketones. They love the flash sales. They're promoters, and maybe they've got a few customers here and there. You're going to have a whole lot of them. Okay, and you can't. My dad says you can't push a rope. You can't push it. You want to be supported or coached, right? And I'm going this way and you're going with me. So you're going to have a whole lot of them. So don't think that everybody, just because they enroll as a promoter, is going to do something, but you need them. You need them. And then you're going to have a smaller group of people that are going to be like, they're doing stuff, right? They're creating volume. They're following the path. They're showing up. They're getting the calls. They're doing the things. Okay. And you need them. And then you're going to have tiny group of people who go big. Not everybody's going to go big, but you need everybody, because you don't know if someone here or here is going to jump in here one day. Okay. So just know that you need everybody. I don't care what everybody does. I just want everybody to be a part of it. And do you want to be coached or supported? And when you need me, I'm here, right? That's what you do. And when you tell your story all the time, you guys, you're shaking up ketones every day, talking about ketones, but you got to tell your story. You've got to make the invite. You've got to make the connection of why you're drinking this and why you're doing this. You have to marry the two. Some people don't even know. Do you know how many people have signed up with me that didn't even know that there was a business opportunity, but because I was talking about it and they saw me somewhere? That's what's crazy to me, is that they didn't even know. Nobody asked them. Another, the Pruvit, guess what? Dig into your customers that have been using ketones for 4 months. You can be like, oh my gosh, Shelly, you know what? Happy Proversity. Get Prover anniversary, whatever. I don't know what it's called. Proversity. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Guess what? If you get enrolled on SmartShip, you can get free product every 4th month. You can dig in and download that stuff, right? I don't exactly know off the top of my head, but we can help you. How cool is that, right? Dig into what's in front of you. Okay, these are higher level advanced things, but I'm just gonna give it to you anyways, in case you're like, oh, I kind of like that, right? So the other 2 things that I have that I do is, and I'm gonna tell you, I was real scared to death when I started doing these in my previous business platform, but I did it anyways. I didn't wait for someone to do it for me. I did it because I wanted it. I wanted success. I wanted people to pay attention to what I was saying. So this is just me, but you could do this because this is your business. So once a month, you could host a Zoom business opportunity webinar. You can go into the downloads, and under downloads on the homepage, and there's like a PDF, like a presentation. That's what I did. I just downloaded it and I screenshotted it and I put it in like a Google presentation. I was like, I'm just going to talk about my experience. I'm going to talk about some of my promoters and customers' ketones experience and a few business experiences. I'm going to talk about why I love the business. If I don't talk about why I love the business, why would anyone else be interested? Right? So in my previous business space, I did that, and I did it once a month, and hardly anybody would show up. And then I started doing it every other week, and a few people would show up. And I just said, you know what? I don't care if there's 1 or 100. Every time I do this, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better at talking about what is important about why I'm here. So I do the same thing here now. And it's cool because you show up as a leader. If you want to be a leader, you got to do things that are just uncomfortable. But if you do it, you're creating information and content for people. And then you can record it like we're doing here, and you can save it. You can upload it to your YouTube channel, and you can talk about it. You could be like, yeah, I did this really awesome. I shared, this business opportunity webinar. It's really cool. Hey, let me know if you want the recording. Like, I'll talk about that in a post, and I'll get people through the week that see that post. I'll be like, hey, Shelly, can I get that? Can I get the recording of that? And I'm like, I'm so glad I do those little things, even though sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew how I felt. I knew why I joined. I knew what I loved. And you start to have more belief in what you're talking about over time, right? So that's a little bit more advanced, but you can do it. And I have a presentation. I'm happy to give you like the shareable link, and you can do whatever you want. You can, save it onto yours, and you can edit it. It's not awesome, but it's something. And like Steve says, don't mess up good for perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. You just have to do it, and then you're going to get better. So that's something that is cool that you could do once a month. Maybe go find 2 or 3 other people and do it with them, right? So they're your warm, fuzzy, cozy blanket. And then the last thing I want to say is YouTube videos. Anytime someone's asked you a question, you already have the list, go make a YouTube video about it. Why? Because someone out there is wondering, and why not let them find you? Again, that's a little bit more advanced, but if you're comfortable and you kind of like doing video, or if you're doing Facebook Lives, download it, upload it to your YouTube video or your YouTube channel. It's all about creating content and information and education. You're educating people. You're not the scientist. You're just educating people on what people are already asking you, right? So you're being the information source. So
I love that. Hey, I was going to tell you, so every time I now make a video, my husband has gotten me to make sure before I post it, there's a little button usually on your phone in the top right, download it, like your Facebook Lives. And then I go to my YouTube and automatically upload it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you'd be shocked at how many people have seen, hey, I saw your YouTube video. What do I know? What are these ketones? Like, you'd be shocked. So like, there's some videos that have like 3 views. It doesn't even matter. It's out there. Somebody might find it. You never know, but you literally don't have to make more than 1 video. Whatever you're going to do Facebook Live, download it, upload it to YouTube. It's that easy. Now, if you want to know more, maybe Shelly can do like a special teaching just on YouTube and Instagram and those things, because that stuff can get pretty intricately detailed. And so maybe we'll do a different training just on hashtags and all of those things. I think people probably need that. But I love that. I love that part of it. So is this helpful?
To that point, sorry, Steph, to that point. Oh,
no, you go.
If you guys did not listen to the huddle call today, do it now.
Yes.
Instagram, truth bombs. And then what I'm going to teach is basically even more of that. Okay. So yeah, go listen.
If you are not on the calls, there's a call every single day at, okay, I'm on Eastern time now. I have to remember 12:15. And there is a replay number. If you do not have it, message me. I will send you the replay number, and you can listen to the calls for 24 hours, and then they're replayed over. So every single day there's a call, and there's always little nuggets. It's always something different. Even if you're hearing kind of the same nugget, but it's somebody else's voice, it's almost like that 7th or 8th time where you're like, oh, I get it. It's so pop in an earbud while you're washing dishes, doing laundry, doing whatever. Sometimes my kids are asking me questions. I'm listening. I have no idea what they're saying, but yep. As I'm listening to a call. And so I love this. I really want to honor people's time. Did you have anything else, Shelly, that you want to go over? We'll do another Zoom. Was this helpful to everybody? Yes or no? Hands up. I'm looking. Awesome. Okay. I love it. Hey,
it was awesome. Thank you guys.
We appreciate you. This is recorded, so we will upload it soon and let everybody share it with your teams who couldn't hop on. Have a great night. If you've got questions, you can message Shelly Hobbs. She won't mind. Or me, whatever you need, and we'll do some more of these very soon. Okay, everybody. Steve always says, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Have a good night.
Good night.